Hey, it's K105. Good morning, Grenada. Good morning, Grenada. Gary, I enjoying that intro in the background there. You know?
Yeah, man. It doesn't get much better than that in the morning.
It doesn't get much better than that in the morning. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Doing super duper fine. Good morning to you, Grenada Character and Pretty Morning. Our friends out there on Facebook, YouTube, tuning into the live right about now on GBN TV. Top of the morning to you. Don't forget you can like and share and subscribe. Share up the thing.
Yes. So, tell me, man.
Grenada.
Tell me. You know, it's kind of chilly this morning for some reason or the other, right?
Yeah, it was particularly chilly this morning. I can tell you that for a fact. It was particularly chilly this morning.
Yeah, I would say that also, man. I came to work this morning. Usually I love the cold, but a little bit extra this morning for some reason or the other. So tell us, what's up? What's going on? What's happening?
Well, this morning, of course, we're going to have a bumper show for you this morning. It's Good Morning Grenada, of course, coming up at 6:45 later on. We've got the AM edition of news, followed by the, of course, weather forecast for today. We'll be linking up with the Met Office for that. We also got, of course, the Celebration Club for those celebrating birthdays, anniversary. We've got you covered. And a bit later on, we've got, of course, Rock the Box. So feel free to vote for the song of your choice. This morning, we'll be playing two songs, one of an old school nature and one of a new school nature. I'm going to have you weigh in and, decide which one you're rolling with this morning.
That should be interesting, right? That should be interesting.
All right, I got my friends over there at Master Control who's just going to run some pictures. Let's see what's going on. We're going to get you up to speed. Many of you have been pretty much caught off guard when the announcement came that traffic's being diverted from the River Road area. Well, we've got some pictures of the road damage in the River Road area. So once Master Control is ready, they will run that for us. But Glenn, that's right outside of your home.
That's right outside my home.
Exact.
You know, usually it takes me like 5 minutes to get to work here, right?
Yeah.
So I had to do that alternative route this morning. Took a little longer than usual, but no big deal. And that's just outside of me, and it was a little bit disturbing for some reason or the other, because I live in the area all my life. I would say, quote unquote, a typical River Road boy. You understand? I guess it was easier for you in terms of coming to work this morning because there was no hindrance on your.
No. I don't typically pass through River Road to get to work. I pass around River Road, so, but definitely it's going to be a hindrance for folks making it into the city to and from work. So we hope that this problem gets rectified sooner than later.
It's one of those routes that is used, of course, the most in terms of getting to St. George. You understand? Yeah. Now, there's that diversion to Mount Rush, and some folks may not like using that particular route, but the good thing about Grenada, Gary, in terms of
Master Control, once you got the pictures, you can put them in.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm.
You know that good thing about Grenada? There's always that alternative route. You ever think about that, right?
Yeah.
There's always alternative routes in Grenada.
We are blessed.
We are so blessed with that. There are countries that where just one road takes you to, wherever you have to go, but there's always that diversion in Grenada. So which is a plus.
And I think I've heard the old folks have stated that in the past. That it's one thing about Grenada: one road can always lead you to another.
Yeah. You understand? So there's always alternative routes that will accommodate. So let's get into, of course, Master Control probably didn't get that in 4 days. So let's move into the word of the day. Which I'm going to leave it up to you.
All right. The word of today is sully. All right, sully. SULY. It's a verb, and it means to. That's SULLY if I missed that, and it's to soil or tarnish. All right. So you can say the money-related charges brought against the restaurant's owner was sullied. Has sullied her reputation. All right. When she began living next to the beach in Barcelona, New Yorker Elizabeth Shaw was distressed to see all the cigarette butts and litter sullying its golden sand. So those are some examples of how you can use the word sully today. SULLY. And that has been your word of the day.
Let's pop into the thought of the day. And
why not?
Let's get the thought of the day. And let me see if I can get this one out for you. Positivity is the state of mind that helps you to imagine and see the possibility of what you can learn, earn, and achieve today. Wonderful. All right, and that just excellently says a lot.
Ever wondered about what is positivity and why we need to practice positivity. Positivity is a practice of remaining positive, hopeful, and keeping optimistic. An optimistic attitude towards every situation that comes your way on a daily basis. All right, we need positivity and optimism, and a lot of it, in fact, to fight the day out and become successful in life at the end. No matter whether you are a student, employee, or an employer, positivity and optimism can help you make the most of your day. And whether you are going to school, to an office, if you want to achieve and accomplish something worthy, then it is important for you to practice a positive mental attitude. That's PMA, positive mental attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kick the ball out of the park today with that positive mental attitude.
You know, there's a saying, Gary, when you're thinking positive, you're actually praying positive.
Yeah.
You understand? You think, have a negative thought is like a negative prayer. You understand? So always keep that positive thought flowing in your mind, always, all the time. And it's like a positive prayer to the Almighty. All right. So we're going to roll directly into your health tip. Don't forget, we have for you the AM edition of news coming around for you shortly. We have a rebroadcast of the nightly news that will be on the GBN TV for those of you watching television. And those of you listening, of course, you got the AM edition of news for you in K105. Let's get into your health tip for today. And Gary, being that health enthusiast as he is, I'm going to let him flow with it.
Well, thank you so very much, GT, health enthusiast.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like that. All right, happy body, healthy choices. Here are 5 tips. 5 tips to a better health. Of course, we all know, and it may sound a little bit cliche, but drink more water, at least 8 glasses a day. I go for at least 1 gallon a day. That's to tell you, at least. All right, but start with at least 8 glasses a day. Eat fruit before breakfast. Eat fruits before breakfast. In that way, you jumpstart your day with great nutrition, and you jumpstart your immune system. Add vegetables in every meal. 3 to 5 servings per day. Walk for 30 minutes daily. Hope you got a little bit of work in today. GT's never too late.
Never too late. I'll get that done a little later on today.
All right.
Later on today.
And explore meatless meals. All right. Try vegetarian meals from different cultures if you can. But at least try.
Let me chip it in you there. Tell me, Gary, what's a typical breakfast for you in the morning?
Oatmeal. I probably would try multigrain cricks.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some lentil peas on the side. You know what I mean? That's a typical breakfast.
You consume a lot in the morning. I need breakfast.
You don't?
You know, it's a good. Yeah, I do. I do have breakfast in the morning. But I gotta have my coffee, Gary. You know, my day will be a wreck.
Oh, really? Now
my day will be a wreck. Anyway, folks, it's moving up to make that 12 minutes before the top of the hour. It's time for the AM edition of news here on the K105. We have a rebroadcast of the nightly edition on GBN TV. Stay locked on for that. We're coming back with Good Morning Grenada after the news here on K105. So don't touch your dials. Gary, we're coming across with you shortly. We're coming back. Tell the folks, right?
Good Morning Grenada.
Share the great taste of Grace Foods. Quality nutrition.
The River Road public road was closed to vehicular traffic with immediate effect from this morning. The closure came because of an unfolding situation of the undermining of the roadway with progressive collapse and the development of cracks along the road surface, which poses a serious threat to the general public. Here's Chrislina John, who visited the site this morning.
The collapse of a portion of the River Road main road has led to the immediate closure of the roadway, and this is expected to inconvenience motorists for weeks as government and the contractor seeks to rectify the problem. This unfolding situation has developed just past Steels Bridge area. As a result, traffic leaving and entering the town of St. George has been diverted to Mount Rush Public Road. Contractor Desmond John of Sunrise Construction, who was tasked with parts 3 and 4 of the St. John's River flood mitigation project, explained to GBN's news team the possible cause of the undermining that led to the road's collapse.
Excavating the base for the walls as stipulated in our contract, and in doing so, the walls that are holding up the road, which was built years ago, lots of years ago, did not have the integrity to sustain the pressure of the road anymore. And as we continue to excavate and underpin, some of it slide into the river. Fortunately, we have already excavated and cast a little more than 50% of the wall in that critical area. So it's not as dramatic as it appears.
With parts 3 and 4 of the project moving according to schedule, John says remedial work on the collapsed portion of the road would take some time.
Well, this project is scheduled to finish in the early part of 2022, in the first quarter of 2022, and everything is progressing according to schedule. We are looking very good in those other areas. What we intend to do is to tackle this immediate problem. We will bring in independent equipment and boost up our existing team, so we'll have that running simultaneously with the other packages, because it needs very intense action, and we need to be very critical on our way forward in order to solve this immediate problem.
Infrastructure Minister Nolan Cox says taking down these walls was part of their project. However, they did not anticipate this happening so soon.
It is going to happen in the coming weeks. Those walls are going to be replaced while the road is being closed. We had anticipated that, hence the reason why we would have done a walk, an alternative route through Mount Rush area, so that when we close off that road, vehicle can pass through that area. So it cannot happen a little sooner than we planned, but we were planning to close off the road eventually.
The Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force was commended for their swift action in diverting traffic and avoiding any unfortunate occurrence. With traffic diverted through Mount Rush, motorists are encouraged to exercise due care and caution while using, especially with the increase in traffic. Christelina John, GBN News.
A potential COVID-19 outbreak in one of the schools in Grenada is seemingly driving home the importance of the need for the proper wearing of masks, social distancing, and knowing your status. Reports have surfaced that positive cases among students were recorded in one institution as school resumed this week, days before the full reopening of face-to-face teaching and learning scheduled for Monday. Here's Gerard Joseph with the latest.
The Ministry of Education's back-to-school protocol strongly dictates the proper wearing of masks, regular sanitization and social distancing wherever necessary, with updated guidance on quarantine and isolation. These mandates are now being made more relevant as reports of several positive cases among students at one institution have been brought to the fore. The situation was brought to the attention of educational officials during GBN's To The Point program on Wednesday.
And I'm asking this given the fact that there is a situation that's developing, and I pray God that you are aware of it, and then within the school, within the confines of St. George, where up till yesterday, a child which came to school, reported positive with the virus, and my understanding from all my sources is that 2 other children that were tested positive at the school.
Chief Education Officer Angela Finley impresses that as part of the protocols, together with quarantine and isolation, parents are asked to keep children who are feeling unwell at home.
Right. So in terms of that, the magnitude of what you're describing, that has not come to us as yet. But again, I want to go back to the point that I was making, that if the fight against COVID is to be won, it has to be that collaborative effort among all stakeholders. So again, we are appealing to parents that if children are unwell, or if there are persons in the home that are unwell, the guidelines from the Ministry of Health says that no one then should leave home where there are sick persons to go anywhere else.
Finley says isolation for students who are in direct contact with another student displaying symptoms and not wearing a mask is the requisite guideline. Education Minister Emily Pay adds that there are protocols to be followed in such a situation.
The principal has protocols to follow, right? So on entry, every child should be sanitized. On entry, every child should be wearing a mask, right? And the principals are aware of what do they do if a child is not wearing a mask. You should not even be accepting that child, or you should be finding a way of providing or supporting or getting help from the ministry in that regard.
Minister PA notes that once the school is aware of the student being positive or displaying any symptoms, there are communication lines to follow.
Immediately contact the parent of that child. Immediately isolate. Immediately ensure that that child is removed from the compound. And there's some line of communication now, communication with the Ministry of Education. So it appears that that school has not communicated based on what the CEO said. Communication there is important. Engaging of Ministry of Health is now important.
The Education Minister points to other situations in which positive cases were reported in schools and students, teachers, parents and others were called in for testing. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
The COVID-19 numbers continue to rise, meanwhile, by the hundreds, as the Ministry of Health's latest dashboard confirms 256 new cases on Tuesday, bringing the number of active cases up to 873. While the hospitalization and death toll still remains at zero, the test positive rate is now 22.8%. According to the dashboard, 95% of the population still remains unvaccinated, with only 35,925 people fully vaxxed, 5,704 people partially vaccinated, and 2,933 people have received their booster shots. Testing continues to be made available to the public, with the service being provided at health centers across the island daily. Health officials continue to implore the importance of following all COVID-19 protocols and taking advantage of the various vaccines available on the island, which are AstraZeneca, Pfizer-BioNTech, and Johnson & Johnson. In other news, the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force wants members of the public to desist from sending the wrong message and get acquainted with the law, especially when it comes to the rules of the road. Here's Christelina John with that story.
There is a saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Head of the Traffic Department, Superintendent Randy Connaught, says he is disheartened by comments from members of the public following a GBN news item on what is expected of vehicle owners for inspection. The officer referenced Regulations 22 of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Regulations, Cap 201 of the 2010 revised edition laws of Grenada. He believes people's lack of knowledge could send a wrong message. He encourages vehicle owners to get acquainted with the regulations.
The thread that of comments that were made, I just wanted to highlight a particular point here because I realize that some of the comments made are not factual, they are not accurate, and it could be quite misleading. In that, one, vehicles must be presented in a thoroughly clean condition and must have been recently overhauled. And this is just one of the areas that is listed on the annual notice, and it is reflective of what is contained in the regulation. So persons who are making those comments without having a factual or having any knowledge of what the law speaks to are actually inciting some level of contempt and giving a sense of agitation on the part of others who are also reflecting comments similar to what is being said.
The officer reminds the public that they are guided by the rules and regulations according to law and use these regulations as their terms of reference.
I want to make it clear here, we are not making up the rules as we go along. We definitely see a need, a critical need, I may say, for re-education, and this is what we intend to embark on in 2022, a serious public re-education drive, because of what we are experiencing is as a result of a new cultural shift which is taking our state of affairs in the area of road safety in the wrong direction, and we really want to bring some clarity to the public on these matters, and we also want to ensure that our efforts are designed in such a way that we see the needle tipping in the right direction and bringing accidents to a significant reduced number.
Superintendent Connaught reminds vehicle owners to get their vehicles inspected early and not wait on the last minute to do so. Licensing and inspection period for 2022 started on Monday and continues at Dusty Highway in St. George, Guelph, St. John, Pearls, St. Andrew, and on the Sister Isle, Carriacou. Registration is now on for vehicles with single registration letters ranging from 1 to 2,500 and those with plural vehicle registration from 1 to 250. Registration for those vehicles started on January 3rd and goes up to February 15th. Christina John, GBN News.
Looking back on the achievements and challenges faced in 2021 by her ministry, Education Minister Emmeline Pear says in 2022 they will bring new guidelines for the recruitment of teachers. We get more in this report.
Cabinet has approved new recruitment guidelines for teachers for 2022 as they aim to strengthen and further develop the education sector in Grenada. Minister for Education Emmeline Pear says with aspiring teachers now being able to enroll in a teacher's college without any teaching experience, the aim is to attract and employ people who are passionate about the field of teaching and not just someone looking for a job.
You know, when you look at persons who came into teaching before with a passion, they want to teach. Now you seem to be attracting a lot of people who are looking for a stepping stone. Teaching is not what I really want to do, but I'm going to do it until I find what I want to do. How do we attract people who are passionate, who want to be teachers? And that's another area. We've just actually had Cabinet approved new guidelines as it relates to recruitment. So how do you come on an interview and do a good performance and you end up in the classroom tomorrow? You know, all of those things we have been relooking. So policy has been a major focus.
In 2022, the Ministry of Education is expecting to grow in many areas as they try to tighten the gap and fallouts of COVID-19.
So we cannot complete 2022 without starting the conversation and introducing gradually things like coding, robotics in schools, ensuring that our children get familiar with those things. Then we have to strengthen, PS spoke about management. Leadership is everything, and we need to strengthen leadership in schools. We need to provide greater support as it relates to the management of schools. How do we ensure that we build capacity to get the most out of, right, and to provide the most support for our students? So the area of leadership and management would be critical in 2022. Succession planning. How do you ensure that you don't end up in a situation where you quote-unquote lose a good principal and you're struggling to find a replacement? Nobody even wants to be the principal. So the issue of leadership and management sustainability is critical.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Kevin Andel, says more than 100 teachers have been identified for regularization in 2022, a major milestone to be achieved.
The whole issue of regularization of teachers, and that is on the front burner. We have done a number of work on that, and in 2022 we are expected to make significant headway in making that happen. I can say to you that will be a major milestone for us. We have done it in the past, and we continue to do it on a phased approach as we look at the fiscal space that is available to us.
Both Minister Pear and PS Andel were speaking on GISEA in review. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Local authorities have revised protocols for travel, quarantine and isolation as Grenada and the rest of the world enters the third year of the global health pandemic. Here's Gerard Joseph with more.
As the pandemic rages on, the question of who is allowed to travel into Grenada after testing positive has been on the tip of the tongue of concerned citizens. A person who was recently infected by the COVID-19 virus may be allowed to travel to Grenada after providing evidence of a recovery. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says individuals must bring forward documents to prove they have recovered medically.
And this evidence includes you must present the positive test, all right, on a sample taken no more than 90 days before arriving in Grenada. So it's not like you tested positive in June last year and you can just come into Grenada without any, no, it cannot be more than 90 days. Because beyond that, you get a positive test. We consider there's the potential that you might have been reinfected with another variant.
Dr. Charles notes that it does not stop at a negative test within a 90-day period, as other documentations are required.
And so in addition to the original positive test that should be no more than 90 days, you must carry a letter from your healthcare provider or from a public health official stating that you are cleared to travel. All right, so that's 2. And 3, you must have a negative antigen test within 1 day. So you need to work with these 3 items. You recently had COVID, you're traveling in, all right, you must work with the original positive test, a letter from your health provider stating that you are cleared, and a negative antigen test taken within a day.
The acting chief medical officer says for individuals with no history of being infected will follow the regular protocols of providing a negative PCR test within 72 hours of arrival. Meanwhile, reiterating the importance of following the basic protocols, Dr. Charles notes the changes to quarantine and isolation protocols.
Now, for fully vaccinated persons, these persons will not be required to quarantine following contact, except if they reside in the same household with a positive case.
He explains the difference between quarantine and isolation.
So quarantine is what happens after you are in contact with someone who tested positive. All right, so you have not tested positive yet. You are just a contact. All right, the duration of quarantine is 7 days. You're tested, you're negative around day 7, quarantine ends. If you are unvaccinated, you have to continue to self-monitor for another 7 days, up to the 14-day period. Now, isolation is for after you test positive. So now you have received a positive test. If you are fully vaccinated, the duration of your isolation is 10 days. If you are not vaccinated, the duration of your isolation is 14 days.
The CMO says a repeat test is not required unless in cases of an early clearance, whereby a negative antigen test is received for a fully vaccinated person 5 to 7 days and 7 to 10 days for an unvaccinated person. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Despite reports circulating about adverse effects to the COVID-19 vaccines being administered in Grenada, Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says the Ministry of Health has not received information in that regard. One of the major factors to vaccine hesitancy around the world is the record of adverse and even severe effects following the administering of different COVID-19 vaccines, but that has not yet happened in Grenada.
To date, we have not had any reports of significant adverse events occurring. We have had individuals who have had some side effects. They've had fever, they've had headaches, muscle and joint pains. All right, these are the reports that we have gathered so far.
Dr. Charles is urging individuals who have encountered such side effects to report it to the ministry, while noting there are guidelines for reporting on the vaccination cards.
Well, firstly, we encourage anyone who has an adverse reaction of any type following vaccination to report it to the Ministry of Health. Now, if you take a look at your vaccination card, that's the same card that you get when you go in to get your shots. There are some instructions there on how you can report or how you can make a report, right, so that we capture that information, right, and that information is stored electronically in our immunization register. And of course, it can be analyzed to see what are the patterns of adverse events.
And now let's turn our attention to what has been creating a buzz on social media. Rena Perry-Thomas has been looking around the platforms.
The news. You analyze the various topics and distill the issues as they unfold. Your distillation points matter as we're about to highlight them in our Social Buzz report.
All students around the country will be going back to school on Monday for the full reopening of the Hillary school term. The first week, which began on Monday, saw only students of exit grades attending face-to-face classes. But the adjustment comes following a meeting of cabinet in the midst midst of Grenada's second COVID-19 wave. GBN brought this story and you, our online audience, took to the comment section to air your views. Williams Simon Anthony said, I am really lost here. Before the Christmas, there was no spike and the children did not return in full. Now, with this spike, you want them to? What will happen when a great number of students and teachers get infected? Will we be able to return to online classes? My beloved Minister of Education, I believe you got this one wrong. I have great confidence in you and strongly believe this one will be retaught. Rachel Alexander wrote, life has to go on. The cases are high in New York and children have to go to school every day, so they just have to do the same in Grenada. R.B. Hagley commented, when all the partying and having fun was on for the season, I guess some people didn't remember they have children. Houston J. said, why when the place was normal, school didn't go back to regular hours before the Christmas? My child was going to school one day a week. Could you imagine? And finally, Jojo Langon comment, they need to come up with a plan to safeguard the kids. Imagine having an outbreak in schools, you know what's happening there. That's a wrap for tonight's Buzz. Continue to share your thoughts and concerns with us on our social media platforms.
The police say they cannot get involved in the story of a missing 7-year-old girl who was removed from a mother's care by the Child Protection Authority, as the CPA is acting within their legal capacity. Rena Perry-Thomas has this latest.
The Royal Grenada Police Force says they cannot directly intervene in the case of the missing 7-year-old girl known as Blue, as the Child Protection Authority is operating in their legal capacity. The case of the missing child was made public over the weekend by her family members, who say the little girl was removed from their home by Child Protection Authority in March 2021, and all efforts to have her returned to her family has led CPA authorities to admit they do not know exactly where she is. GBN spoke to Corporal Cardinal Douglas McLean at the Community Relations Department of the RGPF, who indicated that they will not be commenting on the matter, as CPA is within the ambits of their legal mandate. The girl's sister, Kirona Alexis, told GBN News that Blue was placed in the care of her father and stepmother, despite protests from the child's mother, as she was fearful she would not see her little girl again. The emotional sister explained that after getting a lawyer involved, CPA was asked to return both Blue and her brother, who was also removed from the home, to their mother. Kirona said her brother was returned home, but CPA told the family that they were unable to bring back the 7-year-old girl as they cannot find her, and declared her missing.
They advised the lawyer that they will have to bring back the children at least the 23rd or the 24th, which was good news. Reached out to her because we realized that no one got in contact with us. It was like past 1. We tried to find out what's going on. She stated that she went to get Bluebell in the residence, and when she went to get Bluebell, the father brings violence towards her. There was a whole set of commotion, but we are sure on getting Zachary. So it was like, what do you mean by the father brings violence? Did you not go with a police officer? They did not went with a police officer. They get in contact with the police after, when he brings violence to her, and she told us that the police told her that they will give him until 3 p.m. Tuesday afternoon to bring up the child, to, give up the child. We realized at 3 p.m. come past 3, we don't get no response, nothing like that. I call her again. She was like, well, I don't know what's going on, and da. But we sure and get him a brother. We say okay, police involved, and we leave it like that. The next day, I called her to her again, find out, what's going on with Bluebell and what the police is doing. She told me that the police is not getting involved. When I asked her why, she don't know.
Child Protection Authority has declined to comment on the matter when contacted by GBN.
When I go to the LCID now to get in contact with the father, they're not able to get in contact with him or anything like that. And then they come and tell us my sister missing. They can't get the father, they can't get Bluebell or anything like that. So she says CID had to investigate. Since the father is a Trinidadian, they will have to go through immigration. We had to send board paper. They had to look through immigration to make sure that the father don't leave the country to go trade out with my sister. So we're just back and forth.
GBN Newsroom was provided with cell phone numbers for the father and stepmother of Little Blue, but calls to both numbers all week went unanswered. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
And now let's take a peek through the GBN Eyesore lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN Eyesore is brought to you by ClearVision.
Life is beautiful if only you can see it. ClearVision Eye Center helps you do just that. We provide expert service, classy eyewear, and cutting-edge technology, all with a quality customer experience. See better. Meet us today at clearvisiongrenada.com or call 444-0055, WhatsApp 409-0055, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. ClearVision Eye Center. Let's see life and the world with a clear vision.
Rain couldn't stop us by the Grenada Lake last Saturday. It was a great show for the kids, so says our Eyesore reporter. The rain did not stop this family from their sightseeing trip at the beautiful Grenada Lake. Grenada Lake is a very popular area in Grenada for hiking and is a great tourist attraction. The lush vegetation provides shelter for a wide variety of animals, particularly for the island's many species of birds. If you are lucky like these kids, you will get to see the Mona monkey. We thank our citizen journalists for this submission. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
Times are hard, and your vehicle is your investment. Let it work for you. Get a wheel alignment from Premium Auto Services and enjoy greater fuel efficiency, smoother ride, improved steering, reduced repairs, and longer lasting tires. Make that call today, 439-4000, or just visit them on the Calavini Main Road. Don't forget to ask about their 20% special discount and all new tires. Premium Auto Services, your one-star auto repair center.
State-of-the-art Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
Sensitive and
hey, good morning, Grenada. Good morning, Grenada.
Good morning,
I got caught a little bit off guard this morning. Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Doing wonderful. How you guys doing?
You know, I'm sitting here with all my glasses on. So, you know, I was caught off guard.
You're caught off guard.
I'm caught off guard with my glasses on. So, but I'll flow with it. What's
wrong with your glasses, man?
Nothing's wrong with it. But actually, I took it off for a minute or two. And, we just ended up popping back on TV. But no worries with that. No worries with that.
All good. So we see that they're showing the road situation in River Road right about now. So you guys getting on some visuals.
Yeah.
All right. As the situation is at the moment, traffic's being diverted. It was somewhat of an abrupt closure to that area for vehicular traffic. Because they deem it a bit too unstable and dangerous for vehicles to be commuting that area right about now.
You know, I want to say also, Gary, I want to say thanks to the folks at Nawasa who stood very late last evening and, able to rectify the problem with the water issue. You understand? Because, folks, we were out of water for a period of time after the road broke. The pipes, of course, broke away also. And they were able to stick around and able to restore water. And we appreciate that. Say good morning to Otis and the crew. They were there. And they were able to restore the water for the people of the road. We appreciate that a whole lot.
But you made a very good point when we were talking off camera. You said that area always had a sink in that road.
I remember that. I remember that for years.
Always had a sink.
Yeah, so that's had a little ditch in there. But you always see water settling there for some reason.
Yes.
And for some reason there's a culvert under there. You understand that water comes from the other side of the road that flows into the river. And I guess if you watch the slides here now, you can see that huge boulder in there. Not even a boulder, but it's actually a guttering that was under the road. You understand? So we have been responsible for falling off, and as the construction has taken place also.
People might be tempted to blame the workmen right there.
I wouldn't blame them 100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame them 100% because the road situation there was
5%.
Well, give them a little percentage because they're working. You understand? But the road situation, they were deteriorating anyway. You understand? Right. That portion of road there, embankment per se, is pretty old. You understand? It's been there for years.
And there's been a tree there. A lot of folks have been talking about a huge silk tree that was in that very same area.
Being an old river road boy myself, typically, that they used to call it the old silk cotton tree for some reason. It was huge. It's one of the biggest trees you ever been. In my younger days, I used to say that's like the biggest tree I ever saw. You understand? It was huge. And remember, as a youngster, we used to be playing around that tree. There was actually a bench built on it. And we used to sit there and chill and old talk as boys.
Well, there you go. So there you guys, folks having a little visual, a little idea as to what that road looks like, the situation as it continues to unfold there in River Road area. Nothing close to the Marlin situation. Let's keep that in mind. All right.
Hey Gary, it's time for the birthday list. Let's see who's celebrating today. And as we move along this morning, the list is lengthy. I hope you have already grabbed your copy. So I'm gonna kick it off, and you popping as of course you see fit. All right.
Yeah, man.
And let's say good morning to Trevon Jeffrey of Upper Capitol. Good morning and happy birthday to you. You're celebrating today. Let's say good morning to Nolan George of Baltazar. Nolan, good morning. How are you doing? Happy birthday. We're just going on from the entire family. Let me get this name right. It's Ria Lalit of Sobeys. I hope I'm getting your name right, my dear. Ria Lalit. Good morning. What about Narissa Buckmeyer of Baltazar? Good morning, happy birthday. Let's say good morning to Prudencia Beggs. She's also known as Pre of Upper Capitol. Good morning. Clement Ferre of Beauregard. Good morning and happy birthday. Let me say good morning also to Lorna Mendez of St. Paul's. She's actually from St. Paul's of Burnett. Let me get this right. I think I'm mixing the name up there a wee bit. It's Lorna Mendez St. Paul's. That's her correct name of Burnett. Yeah. I see Lorna Mendez and I saw St. Paul, so I just thought, well, maybe she's from there, but no. She's actually Lorna Mendez St. Paul's of Burnett. Cool, I got your name right. And let's say good morning to Leonie Williams of Salisbury Road. Good morning, her entire family. Dishing out this morning. I'll take this final one on the list, Gary. Let's say good morning to Francis St. John, also known as Cornman, the Job's son of La Fortune in St. Patrick. Good morning and happy birthday. It's over to you, Gary.
Kimari Alexander in the US of A celebrated 9 years, coming from his mother Kyra, father Shane, grandparents Patsy Francis and Rose Alexander, St. Louis, and other relatives and friends. Tariq King of St. Cloud, St. Andrew. Happy birthday to you. Leslie and Eno of Birch Grove, who resides in Grand Mall, St. George, coming from her mother Vera, all right, and other relatives and friends. Agnes Julian of River Road. You know that person, GT?
I actually do. I actually do. Good morning, you lady.
All right. Joanna Francois of Riverside, St. Patrick, coming from your Aunt Cynthia. And Kellon Alexander of Lamode, St. Patrick's, resides in the US of A. Happy birthday to you. Jesse Williams Boca of, I suppose that's in Boca, St. George, and that person is attached to PSC. All right. Kerry Williams in Canada, celebrating 8 years, coming from his mother, Anaja, grandmother, Althea Thomas, and other relatives and friends. And final one for me before you jump back in, Javin Alexander of Mount Fendu, student of the St. Patrick's Anglican Primary, coming from his mother, Sonia, brothers, sisters, others, and other relatives and friends.
Let me say good morning to Jeanette James of River Road. Jeanette, good morning. How you doing, lady? Happy birthday to you. And a special shout out going out to her from family members, and especially Agnes Julian, who's also celebrating today. Happy birthday to both of you once again. Also saying good morning to Dick Julian, also of River Road. A couple of folks from River Road on the list this morning, Gary. Let me say good morning to all of them. What about Akim Charles, also known as Loost Cannon, Granddad's House of Scheme. I think he's a soca artist, you know, Gary. Yeah, good morning to you, sir. Happy birthday to you. Let me say good morning also to Carlene Peters of St. George. Good morning. Greetings going out to her this morning from family members. What about Anisha David of Duquesne? That's in St. Mark. Good morning. Happy birthday. All the best on your birthday today. Her daughter, you know, brothers, sisters, her father Gabriel. Yeah, I give you all the kudos this morning. Happy birthday to you. Let's say good morning to Abigail Courtney from Mount 2. Good morning to you, Abigail, your family members, especially your son and daughter. Shouting you out this morning. And a special shout out going out to Shania Mitchell of Byland. Shania, good morning. How you doing? Happy birthday. Gary, I want to take one more. Let's say good morning to Mary Gay of a Diamond in St. Mark. Mary, good morning. Happy birthday to you from your husband, and that's Cecil, your children, your grandchildren, members of the Emmanuel Spiritual Baptist Church, taking the time to wish you a happy birthday. Over to you, Gary. Shout out some folks.
Lucian Dranjit. I hope I had that correct, of Maran St. John.
The Ranjit. That's how you should pronounce.
Okay. Coming from her husband, Dennis, sons, Trevon, Dean, and friends, Miss Janice Salfali. All right. Rhonda Mark of Calise resides in Mali. St. Patrick's, coming from her husband, Adrian, a.k.a. Kenneth, mother Tan Grace, and niece Samaya. All right. Who else we got? Cynthia Phillip of Mount Alexander. St. Patrick's resides in the USA, but is on vacation in Grenada, coming from Patsy and Kenneth. Well, happy birthday to you. Martha James Creft of Latant resides in Tempe, St. George, and that's coming from her children, Kenneth, Ashley, Miranda, Marlon, Nigel, grandchildren, and other family members and friends. Final one I'll take here this morning, Celeb Courtney of Tivoli. Hey, Celeb, happy birthday. Tivoli in St. Andrew, celebrating 10 years, coming from his mother, Vida, Verda, other family members and friends. So, Celeb, happy birthday to you.
All right, man. Gary, I think that's where we're going to put a cap and set of the of course, the celebration. Caleb, right? Yeah. All right. Let me put the cap and set of the list this morning. All of the individuals who are celebrating today, I want to wish you all the best. We had no anniversaries on the list today, but if you're celebrating an anniversary, let me wish you a happy anniversary. Those of you celebrating your birthday today, all the best and a happy birthday. And certainly hope you have an awesome day today, man. All right. Let me moving on, Gary. Of course, it's Good Morning Grenada here on GBN TV, also on K105 and Hot 98. As we move along this morning, folks, let's continue to roll through with all the good stuff that we offer. We hit you up the word of the day already. We had for you the thought of the day. We had for you, your health fit. We did that for you. And, of course, we got some other stuff coming in the mix, which is going to be interesting. The Tune for Tune segment this morning, Gary.
Tune for Tune.
Tune for Tune segment this morning.
We have an old pal who will be featuring here this morning.
Yes. You know, interesting artist, per se. And, of course, I don't think there's any worrying, of course, in introducing the artist's name. The Inspector. Yes.
Limas Hurricane Gilbert.
What's your favorite era for the Inspector? His older or his newer music?
Well, I think one can say that he has what's the word I want to say? His music has changed with the generation. All right.
Yeah, hear that. I mean, we being classic, so let me keep the old aside. Being classic here.
But a lot of people would definitely subscribe to a lot of his older tunes.
I for sale love the early years of the Inspector's music.
I like I love 90s.
Yeah, his the earlier years of the Inspector, the early 90s, you know, the latter part of the 90s also. He did great music that time, you know. Those are the ones that gravitate to me as an individual. You understand? So let's see what's up. So we get into the show. The Inspector's the old tune from my side this morning, and the tune from the Inspector for the Eating better there from the Inspector. Hey, Gary, great song indeed. I don't think whatever you coming up with to challenge my pick this morning could be even better than that. I don't think your take could be better than that.
Well, of course, Specky. I think he won the title, the Majgra title with this one, if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't able to pull up a bio for Inspector this morning. Yeah. My bad on that. And but
not. But I think he won the road match, not the road match, but the Calypso Crown with this one, if I'm not mistaken. But Master Control, let's run this one. It's called Soca Hurricane from Elima.
Right, Elimas.
Gilbert, the Inspector. He's got so many titles, so many names, so many attachments to his name.
You ever heard him, just roll out all the names that he goes by? Have you ever heard him?
Elimas Hurricane Gilbert, the Inspector.
Oh, man. Anyway, let's go over to Master Control as we hit your...
Hurricane Gilbert, located 12.5 degrees north longitude, or 60.4 degrees west, with gale force wind of up to 500 miles per hour. Will be hitting Queen's Park at any moment.
keep on telling me, don't come in competition no more, cause they're getting fed up with the result of the Masgra show. Every year is same thing, like they holding something against me, entertaining a foreign country, forget them and the monarchy. But I tell them I win everything already, and tonight I could do it again. The inspector don't surrender easy, so I come in back like a hurricane. My people, don't get me wrong, they can keep a good man down. You have to be very
to give the audience, listeners, and viewers a chance to chime in right about now. 435-7517, the number on my end. And over on GT's end is 435-2041. Or you can, of course, throw in your vote via Facebook if you're viewing live right about now.
Gary, did you try to pick up yourself in the audience anyway? You know what I'm saying? I was looking to see if I think anyway. Hey, don't forget, you can always chime in. Let us know, of course, which one of your favorite. And of course, I'm getting some WhatsApp messages already, Gary, and it seems that hurricane is stopping up so thus far. I've already gotten at least 4 individuals sending me messages via WhatsApp. They tap it for hurricane. Yes. But I like Eating Better. Eating Better was definitely a great song there from the Inspector.
But that's what you like, but let's hear what the audience, let's hear what the listeners and viewers like. All right? 435-7517 and 435-2041.
Seems I have gotten at least 2 for Eating Better already. Yes, we're talking about WhatsApp messages there. Eating Better. And Oh man,
it's coming.
I think I have a caller online. I was having a little bit of issue with my line this morning. I was unable to bring you the weather forecast. So, the phone was just not tapping in. Let's see who's on it. That was that person. Anyway, let's see who else is tapping in this morning. 4. Well, Gary, you seem like you have topped it off this one with all the WhatsApp messages that came around thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We got an interview coming up a bit later on this morning. We'll be talking to a young farmer in Grenada, here in Grenada, and we're going to pick his brain and to find out exactly what's happening as far as farming is concerned in Grenada amongst the younger generation.
Let's also roll in and take a peek at the stats in terms of the COVID dashboard per se and the Spice Isle in terms of the stats.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got mine right here in front of me.
Yeah. You want to take a lead on it this morning?
Well, we've got, the sad news is that we've got 314
new confirmed cases. Wow, man.
So the total number of active cases has risen now to 1,179. So it's not looking good. We've been there before, and it seems like we are right back where we left off. All right, new recoveries, 800 deaths so far. We hope that it stays that way. But here's an important figure right here. Number of persons currently hospitalized, 4. So,
man.
This is where we at right about now. And we've tested 1,500, just over 1,500 people yesterday. So there's a positivity. The test positivity is definitely going up to 20.5. So what does that tell you?
I mean, it's good to see that folks are going in and getting tested. And I hope the same for the individuals who are going in also to get themselves vaccinated. And, it worries me a little bit, Gary. It worries me a little bit in terms of the numbers of new confirmed cases. I thought yesterday we'll be getting less today than we had yesterday. Yeah. But we're getting more. And I don't know. It's getting me that cold sweat, per se. Right. I don't like to feel that way about things. You understand?
In St. Martin, GT, the Minister of Public Health and Social Development there, what they have done, they have approached this with a somewhat of a phase project in terms of how much freedom they give the people of that country. So this is how they're doing it. It all based on how many people are hospitalized with COVID.
All right.
So the more people hospitalized, the tighter the restrictions.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So they have definitely scaled back. Their curfew now has been scaled back to 1 a.m. And that is only going to change based on the number of individuals hospitalized due to COVID-19. So that's a rather interesting approach that they have taken. And
I was going to ask you, in terms of the increased numbers of new confirmed cases, do you think that the authorities here in Grenada will be making some changes to the protocol at all? We all of the curfew thing now. We don't have a curfew anymore.
Well, let's get the viewers and listeners to chime in on that.
We don't have a curfew anymore and stuff like that. So we're hoping that it remains that way. We'll be happy. Everybody would like the freedom to move around anytime we like.
When would it reach to a stage where we say, okay, too many?
Too many.
Let's wheel this back.
Are we looking for 600 a day, 500 a day? I don't know. Maybe, of course, the listeners could chime in and give us a little feedback on it in terms of what
definitely.
they think could be done to remedy, to even make it better.
Do you anticipate another set of lockdowns coming? Do you think that the government should start thinking seriously about imposing curfews and lockdowns once again in light of the latest spike here in Grenada?
Did you think that let me just ask you from this is a question on your personal thoughts about it. Do you think the curfew made any difference?
It definitely did,
Yeah?
It definitely did, because you saw how drastically the number started reducing. Mm-hmm. All right, and up until
did you seriously think that the curfew made a difference, or was it that individuals that decided to think different, do things that of course that will cause them not to get themselves exposed and so forth?
I think the restriction of movement forced people to stay at home and reduce the level of infection in the island. So I certainly do
understand that also, but I was talking in terms of the time frame per se, in terms of the curfew. You understand? Being inside after midnight, or locking you down at midnight, did it actually mean any difference? Yeah, that's just my personal take on it.
I think it did.
You did? All right.
And I think it's at this stage where the government probably might be seriously considering getting back to a stage where, of course, we've just heard news in Guyana where a school was locked down because of teachers getting infected with the virus. All right, this calls for chill, because come Monday, schools will be once again reopened here in Grenada. So what does that say?
Well, with the variant that is spreading right now, I've just got a message here from someone on WhatsApp, and they're saying, the variant spread faster with minimal per se a death rate, with minimal death rate and hospitalization. So unless we see an increase in hospitalization and deaths, they're saying that they don't see a curfew returning.
And I see that point, and I concur. This variant, which is the Omicron variant, is much more infectious, but from all indications, it reduces. In many countries, they haven't seen an increase in hospitalization and death as a result. So does that mean we just leave it as it is right about now, let the chip fall where it may, continue life as normal, even though infection rate continues to climb? All right, we'll see how that, and I guess that's what the authorities are looking at, to see if hospitalization would increase, if there's going to be an unnecessary burden on the health system, and they're just going to play this out, see how it pans out.
Well, I agreed with you on that level with it. On that level, in terms of there's less hospitalization, less deaths. So what's the reason for implementing a curfew? You understand? Yeah. I mean, COVID has become something that we're going to have to live with, Gary. And I'm seeing it being around for a long time. So our encouragement here on K105, being part of Good Morning Grenada G Squad, protect yourself, Grenada. Wear your mask, maintain your social distance, you understand, and just be careful. That's the best I can offer.
And this is exactly what we saw over the Christmas season. There's a lot of people,
just let their guard down.
Just living life as if COVID did not exist. All right, if COVID is not around. So, and here we are now, playing, doing damage control. All right, and this is an unfortunate situation as it exists right about now. Our only saving grace out of all of this is that the Omicron seems to be the dominant strain, and from all indication, it is less severe. All right, unless something changed midway, because we know scientists continue to monitor and study this variant. Let's see if, of course, anything changes where that is concerned.
All right.
It's Good Morning Grenada.
Good Morning Grenada. K105 and also on Hot 98 G Squad. Yeah, we taking you through a couple more minutes left before we, of course, wrap the show for this morning. And Gary did mention that we will have, of course, an interview this morning. A farmer, he'll be popping. I already see he's making connection. I hope Master Control could pop by and have that taken care of for us, and then we move to that level. So we got lots, as usual, folks, taking you through this morning. Those of you on your way to work, probably going to get there for 8 o'clock. You have roughly, should I say, about 17 minutes or so to be there on time, and get a move on.
So we continue to encourage our folks viewing us via Facebook, YouTube, and those listening to us on Hot 98 and Classic 105, just to chime in a little bit. Let us know what's your thoughts on this situation as far as the increase in COVID-19 cases here in Grenada is concerned. Should the government now seriously start thinking about implementing lockdowns and curfews once again? All right, let's get your take on that. All right, the number once again is right there on the screen. It's 435-2041, 435-7517. All right, we'd love to hear from you this morning. Let's get your take on that. It's Good Morning Grenada.
Calling in and hanging up just a wee bit. Not sure if I'm grabbing the phone a little bit too quick, but let's see what's up. All right.
So we're standing by. We got an interview coming your way in a short while. We're going to talk about farming here in Grenada, of course, in this pandemic situation that we exist in right about now. It is really encouraging to see that there are young people who are actually making a living, a livelihood from farming.
I think we already have connection, of course, with the individual that we're going to interview this morning. Let's see, of course, if we can get him in. Gary, will you be staying on your side of things, or you be popping around to my studio?
I will let you take it over. I'll pop over in a short while.
All right. It's K105 and Hot 98, folks. It's Good Morning Grenada. And, of course, it's a G Squad. And we do have, of course, as mentioned, Marcus Andel, a young farmer doing great things. And we'll be chit-chatting with him for a wee bit this morning, finding out about, of course, how he goes about doing things as a farmer, what are the challenges and so forth, and he's encountering, and how is it been for him during, of course, the pandemic and everything there is out there now, and how he is able to, of course, make that a big difference.
You see, this topic is very dear to me because, as you know, I dabble a little bit in farming as well, and we all have grown up where we have not been encouraged to get into farming. Our parents, they didn't encourage us. They didn't pass the trade on, and the school system, I'm ashamed to say, didn't do much in that regard either. All right, so we've seen that this is changing in today's society. All right,
Gary, I would say, before our parents, grandparents, I always had that thought that knowing that what they grew up doing, you understand, and some of them thought, hey, I don't want my children getting into that. Would you agree with me with that or not?
Yeah, because
I don't want my children getting. I don't want my children doing that. So I prefer my son or daughter to become a doctor, or become something of a prestigious nature per se. You understand? So that you have their hands and so forth. Just for a simple way of explaining it. But we see that it has benefits, of course, to make a difference, for our little country. You understand?
I think parents always say, well, I don't want my children to work as hard as I did. You know what I mean?
I toiled the land. I did
that and that. I do not want my kids to go. And then the fame and glory of certain jobs, being a doctor, being a lawyer, all of that. You get to make X amount of dollars, and it's not that you can't make that kind of money as a farmer. It's just how you do the work. All right, how you approach it as a business. All right, and we're going to be talking to Marcus in a short while and get his take on all of this, because it has to change. There's got to be an emphasis on farming in Grenada, and I see that the government is making that shift, and I applaud the government for that. But we definitely want to see some more emphasis on farming as a viable alternative to living, earning a living.
All right. So we do have Marcus online already. I'll chip in, and then of course you can.
I'll make my way over.
Let's say good morning to you, Marcus. How you doing this morning? Bro? Hey, Marcus, are you with me this morning? Good morning. I wonder if you... all right, man. Yes, I'm hearing you loud. I'm hearing you loud and clear. I guess you are hearing me also, since you asked if I'm hearing you, so which means you are hearing me. All right. So that's Marcus Andel. That's a young farmer there. We'll be chatting with him a wee bit this morning. Get his, of course, his take on farming and so forth. And seem to be having a little bit of a connection issue with him there, just a wee bit. Let's see. Hope that gets rectified, and we can make contact with you. All right, much better. All right. So how you doing this morning, Marcus? How you doing, Marcus Andel? How you doing this morning? I'm not sure if you remember. We had a chat a couple months ago, and of course that was a little bit off camera chat. You understand? But I'm not sure if you could remember me, because you may be a little more familiar with Gary per se. But how you doing this morning, man? How you doing? Yes. So you out in the land already? Wow. All right. That's great. That's great. Well, I'm doing good. It's the G Squad, myself, Gary. We sit in here every morning, of course, and we try to, of course, bring the information to the viewing and listening public. And we got you this morning, and being a young farmer. Let's see, we chatting Gary.
What's up, Marcus? Yeah, man. I see you out in the land already.
Yeah, he just mentioned that.
Wow. So listen, man. Let's talk about farming. I see you out there. I love the scenery. I love that you've taken the opportunity to do this live while in the farm, because hey, this is you. You understand? So what you doing this morning? What you got planned for this morning in terms of are you clearing, are you planting, are you reaping? What's going on this morning? Right. So, Marcus, we want to talk about farming as you see it, and what got you in. Let's start. Can we start there? What got you into farming? Yeah,
cooking food. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. Without a doubt, there wasn't even a thought process. Yeah. What is the process? Where has it taken you as far as the start process is concerned? I was just told that we're not getting any audio from you. We're getting video but no audio. All right, so
audio.
Yeah.
Hold on. We have audio. We're getting audio from your end, but not through our board. So, gonna try and see if we can sort this out.
Oh, we actually have audio.
I'm hearing him live. So I'm not too sure if the issue is, are folks in Radio Land hearing us? Let's make sure that folks in Radio Land are hearing us. But let's continue, Marcus. So let's see if we continue to tweak while we speak. So the journey? What have you learned to this day? What blessing? What challenges? What can you tell us?
Man, there's so much I could tell you all what I learned, because every day I learn it, I think nature in itself is a school, is what I say, and I think being in the land, you learn so much just observing how plants grow, observing how animals, insect work, so many life skills you can learn from the land. One of the most important things I learned is being patient, understanding you have to take time for things to grow, and understanding that, not everything you want to come right away, it comes right away.
Yeah.
So, being in the land has taught me a lot of patience, but also challenges I found in the land too, or observations I would say is that, I'm a organic or natural farmer. So I don't spray my land, no fertilizer, none of that crap. But I would say this is, even in school, I remember in the books, they had fertilizers and stuff.
That's what they teach you in school.
That's what they teach you. And, even when I started farming, I started with my father, and, he used a bit of fertilizer in his farm. He have a massive farm, And what's interesting, what I've observed with me started farming and doing organic farming is that when you don't use pesticides and fertilizer, it actually keeps away the pests, actually keeps away the disease. Because what happens is when you add these stuff, it creates the environment for the disease to happen. Because I have been doing organic farming for the last year and a half, and I haven't used no pests, no pesticides, no fungicides, none of that. And I have no problem whatsoever with pests. No problem whatsoever, no bugs,
so you
no
disease. You actually saying the use of these products are encouraging the pesticides, the pests per se?
Yes, because so you see when these stuff break down, right? These scents, right? And these scents attract the pesticides. So it's a cycle, and it makes sense when you're a businessman, when you think about it from that perspective. I mean, you want your client to come back. So everything is one cycle. So you buy the pesticide you buy the fungicide to get a fungicide, but in a sense that'll help create the pest, and then you buy the pesticide.
Okay. It's a business move.
All right, I understand that.
I just call it like what it is. So I understand that from their perspective, but even from me being in the land now, I mean, it destroys the land. You know, I have heard farmers say they have to rest the land.
Yeah.
But the land ever going, the only reason you need to rest the land is because you're putting stuff in the land cannot utilize. So when you're, as an organic farmer,
that way
you take out let it back in, I seed it one time.
Yeah.
All right.
No hesitation, and because my land is always fat, as you say in farming, it's always full of nutrients, because all I'm using is seaweed and fall manure. And the fall manure I'm using is broken almost over 2 years, so it's pristine.
All right. Interesting, man.
Wow.
So you typically saying whatever you're doing in your agricultural way of life there right now is all natural.
All natural. Every folks now, as you said, when you were in school, you were interested in technology. So you don't implement anything of a technological nature in part of farming at all? Not right now, but that is a plan, because I think we sleeping on farming in Grenada. And what I mean by that is, first of all, we too many farmers planting the same thing at the same time, so it creates gluts on certain markets. Too many farmers not planting what they're supposed to in the area, meaning that zoning farming,
I agree.
I think too much times, if you drive around all farms in Grenada right now, I guarantee you, everybody planting lettuce, everybody planting tomatoes, everybody planting cucumber, everybody planting corn, or peppers, you know what I'm saying? So there should be more zoning and single crop farming or dual crop farming. And what that does also, it creates more market, but also it drops the expenses a farmer had to put out. So if I'm a farmer and I have 5 different crops in the ground, and let's say I'm using fertilizers and stuff like that, that's 5 different type of fertilizer that I have to get. You over what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have to maintain the 5 different crops maybe differently, 5 different ways.
Right.
So that takes a toll on you. But if you're just doing, let's say, lettuce and kale or lettuce and pak choy, these are similar crops, right? And what you don't need to, again, master that. And what that does is you will always have market for that. And you could almost control that market if you are alone doing this consistently year round, but we don't have that. We have farmers jumping from okra to corn to this to that. So, there's no consistency in any one.
They want to be master of all.
Right, but I ain't master none yet.
Yeah, I understand. We haven't got much time, Marcus, but Gigi, got a question?
Problem,
no, let him roll.
As a young person, if you don't mind me, Gigi, as a young person who's into farming, a lot of young folks have turned their nose on farming pretty much for quite a while now. All right, it's been what it is. All right, it's I see you have showing us your cabbage beds and all whatnot and so forth and so on. But what advice do you have for young people who might be more inclined to pick up the blue collar jobs and so forth and so on?
I'll be honest. You have to find passion for it first, if that is your passion.
Yes.
But also too, I would say that sometimes you need to test something to see if you really that really is your passion. And one of y'all mentioned about technology in farming. And I think that is one of the best ways to tell young people if you really want to get into farming, because technology is amazing, from aquaponics to hydroponic systems. You are saying to just, that in itself make growing almost any green or 3 months vegetable next to nothing, because again, you're constantly feeding, you don't have to worry about cleaning, about pesticides or pests and stuff like that. So I'll say this, tap into how information technology and agriculture meets. Find that balance.
That mesh, if you could mesh them together then.
Yeah.
And trust me, there are YouTube, just YouTube, and you will see there are so many ways information technology and agriculture links, and it makes what we think, it makes the farm work a lot smarter than harder. And I think that's a concept we need to get away from, that farming is a hard work. That's not true. That's not true.
Well, once you have the passion for it, first of all, that takes away the whole idea of hard work, right?
But also, too, I think, again, how we work. Too much time we work, not the efficiency of how we work. And I think that is something we need to change. That is something we need to understand. A lot of old ways of farming, yes, that's how they used to do it back then. But even a lot of things change now, the way, the mindset, different things, we see things differently. So I think implementing just,
talking about things evolving.
Yeah. Marcus, we are strapped for time, but I'm going to ask you one question. Is farming a viable option? Is farming a viable option for a livelihood?
So we have lost him there a little bit.
Step back, Marcus. Your connection is falling on. Your connection is dropping. Step back. Your connection drops. Yes.
You hear me?
Yeah, we better know.
Yeah. Saying that, is that a rhetorical question?
No, that's no, it's not rhetorical at all. It's actually a real question for you to answer for those who might be out there thinking, hey, farming don't have no money, right? What going on doing farming?
Nah, I would say this. Everything we're using is farming. So trust me, farming has the most money in the world, honestly. But again, most farmers don't manage their money properly. Because a lot of farmers, we haven't been educated in that way of business too as well. So farming has money.
All right.
As the dirt has money. They say money don't grow on trees. That might be, I like us to revisit that statement.
Yeah, for real. It grows in the dirt. Well, Marcus, we want to thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, man, we want to thank you so very much. But we got another program coming in and we got to cut you. But thanks a whole lot, man. But we'll do this again at another time for a lengthier period.
All right. Hey, folks, also we're going to wrap up Good Morning Grenada.
Light and blessings.
Yeah, man.
All right. Hey, I want to thank Marcus and there, folks. It's also Gary, so we're going to wrap up Good Morning Grenada for today. We're getting set for BBC News coming up shortly. In just about a minute or so from now, we get time to wrap up. Gary, what a great morning this morning. And
as always.
Hopefully tomorrow will be even better than we did today. So until you hear from us again, goodbye, Grenada. Good morning, of course, the diaspora, those of you listening out there. Any closing words, Gary, before we take that wrap?
Friends on YouTube, Facebook, thank you guys. Continue to share the program, and that's it on our end.
All right, folks, up next we have for you BBC World News.
Being killed.